Hi everyone. Today is Monday, May the 2nd, 2022. And today I actually want to talk about the 27 Nakshatras. Now, truth be told, there are 28 Nakshatras in the Vedic astrology system. However, the 28th one is only used for electional astrology, or to determine what they call a muhurat, meaning like the right time to do something, electional astrology. So, and it doesn't mean elections, it means when you're going to elect to do something, that kind of astrology. So the 28th one is only used for that. So I will keep that one out of the equation. But I must say, before I go there, that I was really inspired to make this video as a bit of a explainer, perhaps, for anyone in the field of Western astrology who wants to understand more and learn more about Vedic astrology, Indian astrology, what's also called Jyotish. And by the way, if you think about the word Jyotish, and Jyot is what is Jyot? It's light. It's like the Lightbearers, like illumination. Not to do the minion dance there, but yeah. And so I wanted to share a little bit about that, because there are some links there with the Freemasons, people, the Lightbearers. Also, that 28th nakshatra that I was talking about, Abhijit is what it's called. It's interesting that one, technically it resides between Capricorn and Aquarius, and interestingly enough, it's about the same time when the President of the United States gets inaugurated. It's always during that time that they do it. So I find that link with the Freemason community, and Jyotish, which is to bring light to the world, is present in the American political system. I think that's pretty illuminating. But anyways, so why was I inspired to make this video? I like to listen to a podcast by a channel on YouTube here called Astrology Hub. Is hosted by a lady named Amanda Poor Walsh, and the guests she brings on are just amazing. I really enjoy listening to, especially Rick Levine and Christopher Wenstrom. A couple weeks ago, though, she brought on a lady who was talking about shamanic astrology, and a lot of the things she mentioned were similar to, in terms of the constellations. She was talking about the constellations that rule sub-degrees of a particular not zodiac signs, but she was trying to, I think, talk about the nakshatras. However, I think she was in some ways limited by the English language, and I don't mean her English was limited. Her English is just fine. I felt like the English language doesn't, and that's not to say that the English language doesn't have enough words. I think the English language has plenty of words. The issue is that there's a slight elitism as far as which subject gets those words. And I feel like some topics, maybe such as astrology in America or in the Western world, aren't given the proper vocabulary so that you can speak of them clearly. And I think that lack of clarity is a deliberate thing, because you see, like, I grew up in India, and in India, your math teacher knows astrology. Like, that's just basic. And I don't mean basic like in the way that the young people use the word basic, like, ah, that's so basic. No, I don't mean basic like that. I mean basic like it's foundational. You know, it's like it's common sense. You need to know that. It's a very much. Of course, you have to know that. Of course, you have to know, what the planetary energies are, so that you can align your own strengths and weaknesses to bring to bear the correct. You can tune into the zeitgeist of the time and act in alignment with the energy of the time. Of course, that's basic. That's common sense. That's foundational. So there are many teachers in India, and actually many people here as well in the States. You'll find, they're not professional astrologers, but engineers and just like regular people with corporate jobs. They know astrology. They know like what's going on today and what's up in the sky and which planet is transiting where and everything. That's normal. And so I feel quite, in that sense, I feel quite blessed to have been raised in a country like India, where these kind of this wisdom is not kept shrouded, but is available to anybody who seeks it. And so I want to take a moment to share the same with anybody who seeks it here on YouTube. So, okay. So a circle. So I'm going to start at the very beginning now with this whole, with the 27 nakshatra. I won't go into the 28th one. You start with a circle, okay? You draw a circle. How many degrees are in the circle? 360 degrees, because you see there are 4 90-degree angles, right? Okay, so 360 degree circle. Now, each degree, and that's of course very small, right? Each degree is comprised of 60 minutes, okay? 60 minutes within each of the 360 degrees. This is very important. So now you take the 60 minutes, keep that in mind. 60 minutes multiplied by 360 degrees will give you 21,600 minutes, not degrees, minutes. Okay? You're doing 60 multiplied by 360. 21,600. Interesting. Isn't that the number of bitcoins that are available? Is it 21 or 18? God knows, something like that. Anyways, fascinating, isn't it? Okay. So now what is this? 21,600 minutes. Minutes. Don't ever forget that. Always go down to the root level, to the basic level. Okay? We're not going to talk in degrees anymore after this point. Because the problem is that when you start talking in degrees, or at least I'll say when I speak of nakshatras, I will not talk in degrees, because the degree thing throws you off. Because when you go to degrees, then you automatically have to go into decimals, and then the whole thing not falls apart, but it kind of gets confusing to people. But if you keep it at the basic level, at the minute level, you will make your life a lot easier in understanding all of this. Okay. So now let me pull back a little bit and talk about the 12 zodiac signs. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, etc., etc. Okay, we have the same equivalent. They're called 12 Rashis. Okay, so we also have 12 Rashis, and we have 27 Nakshatras. Each Nakshatra is ruled by its own constellation or a sub-constellation. For example, like let me just pick on Scorpio for a bit. Why would I pick on Scorpio? Like that's like a death wish. No, but just to take Scorpio as an example, that nakshatra, that constellation, right, of the shape of the Scorpio. The shape of a scorpion. The tail is at the one end, right, and then the head is at one end. And each of these stars, they have different traits. For example, like the tail of the Scorpio is the most poisonous part, right? So if you know like those 13 degrees and 20 minutes, which translates to 800 minutes, there's only 800 minutes that is that particular nakshatra, which I believe is Mula. Okay, so there's that one, okay, of 800 minutes, or the last 13 degrees ish, 0.20 of Scorpio straddling. Does it even straddle Sagittarius, or no? I think the one is like just pure Sagittarius. There's one that's just pure, it starts at 0. But anyways, so you see how this system, it helps you to granularize the traits even more, because it's like it's very it's much more precise. Okay, further to that, okay, so 12 Rashis, so 12 zodiac signs, 12 Rashis. Okay, so on the vocabulary we have 12. Okay, now the Nakshatras. Among the 27 Nakshatras, each Nakshatra is divided into 4 padas. Okay, now the 4 padas are basically, how do you think of it? The padas are like almost like the evolutionary steps. Okay, and or like how the progression of traits goes in within that nakshatra. And so, and each pada, because it's divided by 4, and you had 800 minutes, right? So 800 minutes divided by 4, that's 200 minutes, not degrees, minutes. Okay, so 800 divided by 4, 200 minutes. Now if you want to go back and forth to the degree system, 60, right? 60 degrees, 60 degrees per 60 minutes per degree. So if you do the 60 minutes per degree, then you get a 3.33333 per pada of each nakshatra. And then further to that, if you try to do it thinking in the Western degrees way, you get not 13 degrees and 20 minutes, but you go 13.33333. My God, imagine having to plot that thing. It's a disaster. Jeez. No wonder people in the Western world sometimes get turned off by like the more detailed astrological system. But if you learn it from the root up, right, from the ground up of the 21,600 minutes, and then each every 200 minutes these things change, because there's 27 of them, and within those 27, each of the 27 have 4 shades among each. Now here's what's really cool about those 4 those 4 shades. They all have, and this is all laid out very nicely within within the aspects that each of those 4 within the 27 block, within the 127th block, each of these are very nicely laid out in terms of the, this nakshatras, this pada makes an aspect with this planet or that planet, etc. And that is really useful because, in a sense, it's almost like if you understand those rules, you don't have to rack your brain much later on to think about all these other angles and the quincunxes and the what is the other one? All these angles, okay? The not the sextiles; those are the easy ones, but all these what they call in Western astrology, the modern aspects or the minor aspects and this and that. You don't have to really worry about that and really complicate your life with any of that, because if you understand just the basic 27 nakshatras and you understand the qualities of each pada within them, and if you understand how each pada aspects different planets and therefore has what sort of relationships with with the other, you're set, because in a sense you've understood the rules, that you don't have to worry too much about missing a certain key angle, and it keeps things really, really simple. Yeah, so I wanted to share that. And now that I have reached home, I'm going to take a minute to actually just read out real quickly the 27 nakshatras, because I may or may not have committed them all to my memory and I don't want to miss anything. Okay, so the first one is Ashwini. Ashwini does not coincide like at perfect 0 degree with the 0 degrees of Aries, which is the Mesha Rashi. And that was why the shamanic astrologer lady on the Astrology Hub podcast said that the vernal equinox doesn't begin in Aries; it begins in Pisces, in the constellation of the Fish. And that completely not blew my mind, but I was like, oh no, they need more words. These Americans, they don't have enough. She's limited by the English language here. So because technically it's in the nakshatra of Revati, right? And Revati, which is like the last nakshatra within Pisces, the last nakshatra within that Pisces angle, it straddles the Aries, the Mesha Rashi. Here, I took a picture out of it because I was going to sit around and record this properly, but then I decided I would just do it. So you'll see these are the 12, and then those are the 27, and you see how they don't, they don't go perfectly with each one, with each the nakshatras don't go perfectly aligned with each zodiac, with each Rashi. And you'll see that these are the various constellations, and you'll notice that only one part of a constellation goes in one area, and another part of the constellation goes into another area, into another nakshatra, etc. Right? Okay, so I'm going to read them out. So there's Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, Rohini, Mrikshirsha, which I'm not pronouncing the Shirsha. Mriga is deer, and Shirsa, and whatever, the head, deer's head. Mriga, Shesha, Ardra, Punarvasu, Pushya, Ashlesha, Magha, Purva Falguni, Uttara Falguni, Hasta, Chitra, Swati, Vishakha, Anuradha, Jeshta, Mula, Purva Ashadha, Uttara Ashadha, Shravana, Shravana, Dhanishta, Satabisha, Purva Bhadrapada, Uttara Bhadrapada, and the final one, the 27th one, is Revati. Now the 29th one, the 28th one is called Abhijit. And you'll notice a lot of these names here, the Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, they're all girls' names. But Abhijit is a boy's name. And the reason is that, and this is more going into mythology, but whenever in like Wikipedia or any Western sort of thing, they try to describe what the nakshatras are. They call the nakshatras lunar mansions or like stations of the moon. And I think it's a little, again, like the limited by the English language. Because what it really was, or the myth behind this was that, so there was the moon, Chandra, and and again, this is another interesting difference between Western and Vedic or Indian, which is the moon usually is regarded as a feminine thing over here in the States, but we think of moon as Chandra, the man. You see, the moon's a guy, and these 27, you notice they're all girls' names. So, this guy Abhijit, I guess, is the brother of one of them. I'm not so terrific on my mythology about him. He's either the brother of one of them or of one of the gods. In any case, so what happened was that the moon was supposed to be fair to the 27 maidens, but he wasn't, and so he used to spend a lot of time with Rohini, and Rohini, you'll see, is sort of more, I think, is in the not exactly in the with Cancer, but it's aspected beautifully with Cancer sign, and so he liked to hang out with Rohini. And so these girls, they complained to their dad, and then their dad was going to banish them, and then banish the Chandra, and then one of them, or maybe all of them, they pleaded to say, no, like let him be. And so the moon had to serve this sort of punishment where he waxes and he wanes, but the condition is he has to spend the equal amount of time of like 2.5 days, or not half exactly, but again, if I go into like, we think as in days, but if you think in terms of like hours and minutes, again, the same way I described like the 16,200 minutes of the 360-degree circle, it will make a lot more sense if I granularize the time factor also of this 24-hour day business. It'll make it a lot cleaner again if we granularize down to the minutes. Because it doesn't go by the hours. Because if you go by the hours, go by the days, and it's like 2.5, 2.25, 2 2/3, and whatever. Anyways, so those were the 27 nakshatras and the story about the moon. So I hope this was useful, and let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to write them in the comments, and if there's anything more you want me to talk about on astrology, on the various nakshatras, or even on each maybe qualities of each nakshatra, just let me know, and I will be happy to do that. Okay, thanks so much. Bye.